It was a little bit chillier than we've been used to, but it was still a beautiful morning down by the bow. The geese and the goldeneyes are out paddling around on the ice-free waters of the river. And on the far bank, I found this coyote. He was a long ways off, but I could see that he was hunting, and, well, looks like he caught something. Then he moved to walk along the banks, and the magpies ganged up on him, but the geese pretty much ignored him. The dull bluish light really made the browns of the old leaves stand out, and the tiny crystals of frost highlighted the wrinkles on these rose hips. But I do gotta admit that the light was pretty dull and lifeless. So I continued on down the river, and I didn't have to go very far until, the sun just popped right out. It was still pretty chilly, but certainly not terrible. Not enough to keep these ducks from feasting. And then as I stopped to photograph a bit more frost, I saw this happening. This is called sublimation. The frost is turning directly into water vapor and wafting up through the air. Backlit by the sun, it was absolutely gorgeous. I could have sat there in fact I did sit there for quite a long time watching it. But eventually I moved on down the river, down here to Carsland, just upstream of the Carsland Weir. Further upstream the water was running free, but down here where the weir backs it up and slows it down, it was frozen. But not entirely. Along places where it ran faster, it was still ice-free. Ice along the edges, of course. And that's where I saw these guys. These are little midges. You cannot imagine how hard it is to keep these little things in focus. I mean, they're the size of a fingernail clipping. But very cool to see insects out in the middle of winter. Over at the weir, there weren't the ice formations I'd been hoping for. It really hasn't been cold enough yet, and I do emphasize yet. But there were these ice donuts, which were kind of cool. And a donut around the sun when the clouds moved in. I stopped again at the top of the hill for a look back. I could see where the flowing water was meeting the ice above the weir. And then I found this pheasant. There were actually two of them, one that had tragically lost its tail. And geese flying by because, well, there are always geese. The day was really winding down now, so I pulled into Legacy Island for one more look at the river. At this time of year, it's usually ice-covered here. But not this year. No, looking down with my little drone, I could see that there was hardly any ice anywhere. Which, I have to admit, I don't really mind all that much. But then again, it is the beginning of January and there's a lot of winter left to go. But in the meantime, sundogs. I love sundogs. And as they brightened the sky and the sparrows and the magpies sang their evening songs, my day by the bow was done. A hunting coyote, frost turning to mist, sundogs, and now this. What a perfect way to start 2024.